Virginia smoke. OVS, Old Virginia smoke. OVS, Old Virginia smoke. OVS, Old Virginia smoke. Old Virginia.
My name is Luke Darnell, Pitmaster of Old Virginia Smoke Barbecue, and I'm here to tell you about my new online class available at barbecuechamps.com. This is a 100% tell-all competition barbecue class from yours truly, available online. It is a masterclass with 34 high-definition tell-all online competition barbecue videos that can be watched anytime, and they do not expire. They are packed full of pro tips, techniques, and recipes that will show you how to take your barbecue to the next level. These 34 barbecue cooking videos total 7 hours and will show you everything that you need to take your competition cooking to a level that you never thought was possible. We've already heard from several teams that have bought our classes and have already seen success and gotten their first calls. So this is something that brings me a lot of joy in sharing my knowledge and seeing people be successful with it. So are you ready to take your competition and backyard cooking to the next level? What are you waiting for? Just go ahead and go to barbecuechamps.com and find Luke Darnell, Old Virginia Smoke. We hope you learn a lot and enjoy these videos and have as much fun cooking these recipes as we had making them. This podcast is brought to you by barbecuedata.com. Barbecuedata.com is your one-stop shop for all of your barbecue competition data. Historical data, calls, wins, placements, everything under one roof. It's a great way not only to track yourself in the standings, but also to track how you improve your scores from year to year. Listeners of this podcast can receive 20% off of a new subscription to barbecuedata.com with the code PITPOD. That's one word, all capital letters, PITPOD, PITPOD. So check your team scores, check on others, and do it all on barbecuedata.com. Welcome to a new season of Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. My name is Luke Darnell, your host, and thank you for coming on another year with us. We've took some time off around the holidays and doing some changes with our programming, and this year we're going to start off with one of our more recent world champions. We've got Kuhn here from Hot Daddy's Barbecue out of Graston, Minnesota. How you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good, Luke.
Yeah, so your life changed a little bit there in the beginning of November.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a change. Probably the craziest thing that's ever happened to us.
Well, it was a lot of fun. And I know that because I was in your way. I was in your path to the stage. And it wasn't when you won. It was, I think you won chicken. Is that right?
Ribs.
You won ribs. And I got up to give you congratulations. And you put your arms around me and hoisted me like I was a sack of flour. And pounded on me and set me down, and I had been having back problems, and you walked away, and I was like, man, I think you just fixed my back.
Yeah, sorry about that. I get a little carried away. It, adrenaline kicks in. So
No, though, it was a really cool experience and a cool night, and the party we had afterwards was a lot of fun, getting to celebrate and everything. It's always great when one of your friends wins. That's always a lot of fun.
Yes.
So recently we both had the experience of going to the KCBS banquet. What was that like, being amongst all of your peers there, having won the Royal? That had to be kind of a different experience for you.
It was, Luke, we're from Minnesota. I mean, we don't see a lot of the people that we know of them. We hear of them all the time, but a lot of the people that we've seen down there at the banquet, we never compete against, because they're from, East Coast and from down south and stuff. Every once in a while we bump into each other, but that's about it. And, it's always just a lot of those teams that are there, teams that, I've always looked up to. It's like, God, I'd like to be like them someday, And then lo and behold, here it happens. So we, it was a little surreal. I mean,
you couldn't really hide very much.
No.
Yeah, it was cool hanging out with you there, and you were like, yeah, everybody's like, yeah, I know who you are. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. That part's pretty cool. I mean, it, like I said, I don't know, when we started out doing this, my wife asked me where I wanted this to take us. And I'm like, well, I just want to be viewed as a threat when we show up to a contest. I don't want to be, I didn't set out to be that guy that shows up, and everyone's like, oh God, I'm just going to throw in the towel. I'm going home. He's here. I just wanted to be a threat. When you walk in and somebody says, oh, he's a pretty good cook, he's going to take a placement or two. And then it just, I don't know, everything just snowballed in the last 3 years. And it's, we're on the train tracks. And like everybody says, just keep it on the tracks and keep it rolling. So
that's the key, man. And it's, once you get a big win like that and just staying on top of it, but it's also got to give you a lot of confidence moving forward. Is that you have a feeling of confidence going into this season?
Yeah, it does. A lot of times, I don't know, I feel more like it's a validation, I guess, that things are actually, what I'm doing is actually working. We did a class last year, the beginning of the year in 24, and there was about 20 people that came to it at Northern Fire. And it's kind of cool to watch some of the people that are in the backyard and they're cooking the ribs and the chicken, and you see them using your recipe and you see them winning with it. And it's like, so it's not just me and dumb luck. It actually does work because it works for other people. So, it's, that part's kind of cool too.
It's a weird experience, right? Because you're happy for somebody outside of you at a cooking event that may have finished better than you, or,
right.
That you become invested in your students.
Yes. Yep. I'm just as happy to see them, win with my recipe. So, with my program. So it is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing. So
that's cool. How do you think your experiences outside of barbecue, like in your professional life, how have those prepared you to be successful out on the competition trail?
Oh, well, I don't know. I've always been just a blue collar worker. I've always just worked. That's all I do. I strive for perfection. You never quite, no one ever gets there, but you strive for perfection. I do that in my work, along with, when I play for, in barbecue and stuff and that.
Yeah, that's cool. What's been the most surprising thing that's come out of winning the Royal for you?
Boy, I'm not really sure there, Luke.
You can sit on that one for a little bit. I mean, okay. It's one it's tough to answer. It's probably still relatively new.
Yeah, it is.
It's only a few months ago. It seems like forever ago, but it wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't that long ago.
Cool. We'll talk about some other stuff. Then we'll come back to that question, though, because I think it's important. Let's talk about gear and stuff. And, what's one of the most worthwhile investments that you've made in competition barbecue?
I'm going to be honest with you. It's when I switched smokers and I switched over to drums.
What were you on before?
I was cooking on a homemade offset.
Okay,
is what I'd what we started out with. Had it on a trailer, with the hot and cold water and the whole 9 yards, big grill on it and everything, and that radio and everything. And that's what me and the wife and there are 3 girls. That's what we started out competing with back. Must have been 2014 or so when we started doing a few rib competitions, at the bars. And then as the kids get older and there's not quite as many hands to help load and unload stuff, turns into mom and I, and it's like, okay, I need a place to sleep besides underneath a pop-up tent. and she wants to stay there instead of going to a hotel. So it turned into, okay, well, we're gonna get a bunch of drums and we're gonna figure this out. So I bought the kits from Hunsaker to build your own drums, and I built 3 drums, and that's what we were working off of, was 3 drums for quite some time. And I'm going to be honest with you. I like the fast pace of cooking on a drum, this not getting up at, or, starting the smoker at midnight and putting meat on at 1 a.m. And it's all fine and dandy. You come out with a good product, but at the end of everything, by the time awards roll around on Saturday, I was so doggone tired that, I couldn't even start driving home. So it's like a lot of the fun was taken out of it in that aspect. So switching over to the drums, I like the get up at 5 a.m. Meat goes on at 6, and it's just all morning long, keeps you busy. You don't have time to. I see the biggest enemy for me is to have time to think. Because I have a tendency to overthink things. So if you just do, like at turn-ins, for instance, the radio was blaring in the corner, blaring it as loud as can be. And we tell everybody around us that if it gets too loud for you, just let us know. We'll turn it down. But it keeps me from thinking. I just concentrate on what's in front of me and don't overthink it. Just cook the same thing you cooked last week.
What are you blaring on that stereo?
Our middle daughter, she made up a barbecue soundtrack for us. Ooh. So there's AC/DC, Metallica, you name it. It's all on there.
We're just jumping ahead in questions because that's one of my main questions. But now you get the Minnesota specific question that I'm just going to throw in here. Have you been to Paisley Park?
No, I have not.
Dude.
I know. I drive past it all the time.
Drive past it. I am amazed at how many people that I've met in the world from Minnesota, none of them have been there. It is easily one of the coolest spaces I've ever been in around the world.
That's what I have heard from a lot of people. I have heard that from a lot.
Insanely creative, insanely well thought out. But I'm just putting that out there, and I get no money from Paisley Park for saying any of that. But I will go there every time I'm in Minnesota now.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've never been there. It always seems like, I don't know, a lot of people, when you live in that area, I guess you don't really think of the places that you are cool to go to that are right next to you. I don't know.
I'm guilty of the same shit, dude. I haven't been to Smithsonian in DC in forever.
Yeah.
All right, back to the questions. We were talking about gear. Got sidetracked by Paisley Park. What we talked about expensive things, expensive investments. Do you have a purchase of $100 or less that has most positively impacted your cook and your barbecue, that like a tool or something that maybe doesn't cost a lot, but it's really essential to you?
I'm going to say a roll of butcher's paper.
Butcher's paper.
Yep.
What do you do with that?
Lay it out on your table. There is no cleanup.
That's the best, isn't it?
Oh my God. That is the best thing ever. I started doing that back when we had the old rig, and I had a giant cutting board covered just about the whole table, which was all fine and dandy, except I got to wash it. So you're constantly scrubbing this thing and cleaning it. And it's like, finally, I just decided I'm just going to get a roll of butcher's paper. Back then, I think 1,000-foot roll was like $19.
Yeah.
Rip off 5 feet of it, lay it down on there, put your cutting board on top and your disposable cutting board, and chop, fold it all up and throw it away. Done. There's absolutely nothing to clean up anymore.
It's, I'm working on this video, and that's one of the things I'm highlighting in that, is because it's such a time saver and it's such a work saver.
Oh, it is.
It's just unbelievable.
Yep. It's literally just tear off a piece and throw your disposable cutting board down, cut up what you need to do on it, and you sauce, rub, whatever gets all over it, you just fold it all up and throw it away and Yeah, your table is still clean.
There you
It's the best.
go. So you're a drum cook. Do you use any technology in your cook? Apps, tools, fans? Anything? None.
Nope, I don't use anything. I tried a fan temperature control combo. It held the temperature just fine, but I did not like the flavor of the meat. It totally changed the flavor of the meat. Even though you use the same charcoal and everything. I think it has to do with it ramps up. It's not a constant steady run. You know what I mean, Luke?
Yeah.
So it ramps up and it brings it up to temp, and then boom, shuts the shutter and kind of smothers that fire in there, and you wind up with a lot more dirty smoke because you don't have the airflow going through it. So my biggest piece of advice is just really concentrate and learn how to run your smoker and how it likes to run. And I don't fight it. I just don't. I mean, if that day I wake up, it wants to, my pork drum wants to run to 275 and that's where it's happy, just let it run at 275. I mean, it's going to get done. If it wants to run at 3 1/4, let it run at 3 1/4. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and fight it all day long to go ahead and try to keep it at a certain temp. So timeline might change by 15 minutes, but that's it. It's not a big deal.
I'm adding that to my notes as I make this transition.
The only one that I worry about is chicken. That's the only time I worry about. I get a little fussy with the temperature on it, and that's just because the timeline is so short that I can't afford it to be, 40 degrees cooler, in that short of a cook. That one I get a little bit fussier with, but as far as ribs, pork, and brisket, I just let them roll.
Right on. Let's switch gears to people a little bit. Who has impacted your life the most in competition barbecue?
I'm going to say Dustin Reese from Hogline.
Oh, my God.
I know. It's the truth.
Am I really talking to Kyle? Is this what's going on here? Okay. Explain. So when we first started doing KCBS comps, Dustin was he was at the top of the game in Minnesota at that time. And we went to a competition over in Wisconsin that he was at. And they had Friday night, they asked, they had a public tasting for chicken wings. And then on Saturday, they had public tasting for pulled pork. And the organizer had 3 teams back out of the chicken wings. So he asked if I could cook more. So I ended up cooking 2 or 3 cases of wings. And then he came over with another case of pork butts because one of those teams is supposed to cook pork on Saturday. Then I ended up cooking all that and cooking the competition. And Dustin came up and he was just down the line from us and noticed us. And I think we got like a 3rd place call in pork and like a 5th in ribs or something that day. And he came up and shook my hand and congratulated me. And was like, I've been watching you. I've seen you do all that work. It's really great that you can do that. Going to keep my eye on you. And he's just always, ever since that day, he's always had words of encouragement. Not like he divulged any top secrets to us or anything like that. Just has always been there. He's like, you're getting there. You're almost there, that kind of thing. He's just been a great guy. He really has. So we kind of set out to be, it's kind of like, I don't want to be like him. So he's a really amazing person. And you're right. He is one of the most upbeat, positive people in the world. And I think we need more of those. It's awesome to hear you say that name. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's probably I'm going to say he's the biggest reason why we kept going. Cause I mean, there's a lot of reasons to quit when you first start. There's so much frustration and time and energy and money put into it. And it's just like, what am I doing? And, to have guys like that, just, coax you along, like I said, not necessarily, take me under his wing and show me all the ways or anything, but he just, you're almost there. You're getting there, buddy. You're getting there. So
that's cool. Do you got any? Are you a superstitious person?
yes.
Oh gosh, this is great. I knew it. Do you have any habits or rituals or routines or special clothes that you've established for yourself during competitions?
Not necessarily any special clothes. The wife and I, Amy and I, everything on comp day has to stay the same. Her schedule has to stay the same. Everything, her banana bar run, the whole 9 yards. She has to leave at a certain time. She has to be back at a certain time. And then during turn-ins, when she turns with the box, I give her a kiss and tell her go get them. And then she turns around and I have to slap her butt every single time she walks out the door. And if I don't, she stands there going, excuse me. So, yep, those are two of the biggest ones. Yep.
Wow, that's great. I always tell my wife to make good choices.
No, my wife tells me that all the time too.
I tell her I love her and make good choices. And if I don't do that, something went wrong at the turn-in. So, you have any other ones? That's pretty specific, though. You have to do everything the same. Is it the same food that you eat? Like snacks or breakfast or anything like that?
No, Saturday mornings. Whenever we're at a competition on Saturday mornings with Jason from Wags, Backwoods Barbecue, when we're at a competition together, it's a mutual agreement. He makes biscuits and gravy on Saturday morning, and then Amy has banana bars. So Jason gets the very first good luck banana bar, and he brings over biscuits and gravy. So that's Saturday morning breakfast. So that's the agreement. It can't change either. If Jason is there, like even down at when we're down at the Jack this year, Jason wasn't there, but Amy messaged him and asked who gets the first banana bar, because it's only right. He gave us because he wasn't going to be there. He gave us his recipe for biscuits and gravy, and I made biscuits and gravy on Saturday morning. So
didn't I have one?
Yeah, you certainly did, sir.
I certainly did. That's right. I was just sitting here going, I've got a biscuits and gravy's cow story. I know I do.
Yep.
I know I do. That's great. And are you listening to music the whole cook?
No, not until turn-ins. The music starts at about 10. It's like 10:24 or something like that is when she turns the music on.
Nice.
So it's about a 3-hour long track that she has. So
is it in the same order or is it on random?
Same order every single time.
Wow.
Yep. Okay. As long as that gets started at that time, pretty much know by the songs what's supposed to be going on. So what should be going out the door.
That's crazy. I'll put you on the list as a potential guest for the podcast that we're going to have about music at a contest.
Oh, okay.
Because there's I think there's some deep diving that could happen here and some sharing about things that go on. It's some people take it pretty seriously, me included. So, it's a big deal. Before we get to the rapid fire questions, what was the biggest turning point during your Pitmaster career? Was there something that happened that really made it start clicking for you?
The biggest thing that happened for the change wise, as far as so my recipes never really changed from the year before we started getting good to when we got good. It was just a matter of perfecting them. Getting comfortable with your timeline. Quit staring at a piece of paper, looking what's to do next, and how to do this and what I should be doing. Just what you need to do naturally. Does that make sense? So now you're not looking at a piece of paper. You can concentrate more on tenderness and making sure that that's dialed in, instead of looking at a piece of paper saying, "Oh, crap, I was supposed to be wrapping ribs 15 minutes ago," or something like that. Quit looking at the paper. Once you get comfortable with the program, just keep running it. It'll all work out.
My biggest fear, dude.
What? Not having a piece of paper?
No, because I don't need one right now.
Oh,
but I'm going to.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I hate to do this on the podcast featuring you, but I might as well just tell everybody that Old Virginia Smoke is switching to drums this year. But that's my biggest fear, because right now I don't need the sheet. Haven't in years.
Mm-hmm.
You just know what you're doing, and it's kind of exciting. It's kind of like being married for 20 years and then going on a date for the first time. It's but doing it with my wife, going on that same date, and it's exciting but terrifying. And
yeah.
I don't want to over dramatize something as minuscule as this, but it just thinking about it, like, I'm gonna have to do it 3 or 4 times at home just to, just to have it, even feel reasonably fine. You know what I mean? Yeah,
before you actually feel comfortable with it.
And that's interesting that you brought that up as that being what the click was for you. I think that's the click for a lot of people.
It is. That was definitely the click for us. Like I said, it was just everything was second nature. I mean, you didn't even think. It's like, well, you get done with this, you get done with your wrapping ribs, and it's like, okay, well, those are done. Those are back on. Brisket's going to be coming off, or I got to wrap this, or I got to do that. And you're just automatically pulling out the foil and getting set up, and you're not even thinking about it. And then you walk outside and you have a cup of coffee. I mean, it's just, yeah. There's no frantic running around anymore. And, like I said, as far as drum temp, I don't fight the drums. I watch people sit there and tinker with this and play with that, trying to get the temps up and do this and do that. And I mean, unless it's something super drastic, like I said, I don't worry about 25 degrees one way or the other. So
maybe you can have a talk with my wife. Because she's that tinkerer. Now, she's really good at it. I think she looks at it as kind of like a puzzle, but it's kind of her favorite thing to do, is to sit out there and work those drums. And that's a good reason. That's a good reason to make the switch. She just stays on it. So
yeah, I mean, like, your wife takes part in the cook. My wife wants nothing to do with the cook at all. She does no part of the cook or trimming meat or anything of that. She is my support crew. She is my legs to get these boxes in. And she gets them all gussied up, before they go in. Other than that, she's just there to have fun. I mean, that's what she wants to do. She started that banana bar walk. Lucky's Q, his wife used to do, I think it was pumpkin bars. So, they were stepping out of barbecue competition when we were coming up in it. So we just kind of adopted her banana bar recipe, and because we didn't know very many people, They're the strangers on the block. So she started walking around with the banana bars just to kind of meet people and that kind of thing. And that's what she enjoys doing. So that's cool. Whenever we get to a comp and we see that there's a couple new teams there, I make sure to point them out, make sure you get down there with the bars and meet the new team and stuff like that. So
that's awesome, man. So that's a great story. And I think that's something that we need more of in barbecue. You alluded to something earlier about how hard it is to stay engaged when you're a new team. I think that those of us that have been doing this a while really need to take an active interest in this now, and to make sure those people are engaged.
Yes. It's everybody knows it's a big investment to go and do this. And, the ones that are the cook teams that are showing up and they're doing maybe 4 or 5 of them in a year, kind of thing. They're obviously not out chasing points for team of the year. They're there. They want to have fun. They want to meet people, and they want to have a good time. Don't be a stranger to everybody. I mean, go over and say hi to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You never know who you're going to meet.
Nope.
Awesome, man. Well, let's hit these rapid fire questions here. What do you see about barbecue on social media that upsets or bothers you?
Oh, the constant bashing of KCBS.
It's horrifying. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, are things ideal? No. But if you don't want to deal with it, don't cook anymore. I'm just saying. I mean, I enjoy doing the cook. I enjoy going and doing the barbecue. I can't do it without a judging pool, and I can't do it without KCBS. I'm just saying.
Right.
You're not gonna see a whole lot of guys that are gonna come rolling in just for S&G on a Saturday, and 3 of us sit in a parking lot somewhere. I mean, probably not gonna happen. So,
right. Yeah, it's amazing. I'll just leave it at that.
yeah.
Do you have a favorite pre, during, or post competition meal?
Oh, post competition meal. Amy has to have ice cream, and I got to have French fries.
That's awesome. Kim's a big ice cream after the comp deal, at the festival.
I gotta have French fries for some reason.
Yep. Do you have a favorite present that you like to give to people?
Bourbon.
Oh, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. We had a couple good bottles that night after you won.
Yes, we did. I just got my celebratory stash resupplied now. So, yeah. So we're good to go.
Good to go. Time to win another one.
Oh, it doesn't even have to be me. It just needs to be somebody to win, and I'll be over with it. So
there we go. All right, last question. If you could have a gigantic billboard anywhere with it getting a message out to the millions or billions, what would it say and why?
Oh, good God, Luke. Work hard, play harder.
There you go. Those are good words. Well, people can find you at Kyle Kuhn on Facebook. They can find Hot Daddy's Barbecue also on there. Where else can they find you? Is there any sponsors that you want to hit on the way out?
Unsacred Drums. Love them. Steadiest cooking drum on the planet. Compart Family Farms. Best pork on the planet. Undoubtedly.
No doubt.
And Northern Fire and Grilling Supply.
Excellent. Well, thanks a lot, my friend, and I look forward to seeing you down the road here. Hopefully, I'll see you one time this summer before we get to the Royal.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it, sir.
All right, man. Thank you for listening to Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. Be sure to subscribe and like the podcast, rate the podcast, and to share it out with your friends. Also, be sure to check out the Old Virginia Smoke TikTok as well. Old Virginia Smoke, one word. That's all you have to search for. It's hilarious. Tune in next week for another great episode of Pitmaster. For companies interested in advertising, please contact Old Virginia Smoke directly via www.oldvirginiasmoke.com. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is edited by Chris Sedanka. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is a property of Old Virginia Smoke LLC.